just doing our part, you know?
So apologize. Led Will astray.
Don't worry, you're here. That's what we care about. You got one of their energy shakes across the street?
I did, yeah.
We're gonna do the closed session. Yeah, I talked to the chairman about it. We just have it on here as a placeholder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we get started, I'd just like to apologize that Will and I are late. I led him astray. We went to the little tea protein shake bar thing around the corner, and it took him a little longer to make our little concoction.
They're
than
handmade
anticipated.
beverages,
No,
so, you know, it
no,
takes a minute.
no apology would be necessary if you'd taken our orders and brought us some, but
Send one text to
we'll suffer.
next time.
We don't have dispensaries, so you're safe.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead. It's now 4:03. This is the special meeting of the Woodland Davis Clean Water Agency. The date is February 12th, 2020. Are we being videoed today?
Yes, yes.
All right, so that's for the record. We have an agenda in front of us, very brief. Any additions to the agenda? There being none, we'll accept the agenda as submitted. Public comment? Kim, you want to say anything? Thank you. Then there's no public comment. Agency business, we have the option of a closed session, but we are ready to go to action unless anybody wishes to meet in closed session. I'm not hearing any interest in that, so we'll drop the closed session from the agenda. Item 2 is to consider approval of the modified water rights taxation dispute settlement agreement with the County of Yolo. You've got a Roman numeral 2. Is this because there's a second, this is a second successor agreement?
Yes, it is.
All right, well, staff, go ahead and report, please.
I'll report on this item, Mr. Chairman. This follows up on several prior discussions in closed session that we've had in recent months concerning the water rights tax dispute with the county. And as you know, the water rights you purchased from CPG are taxable, but there's a dispute with the county over the valuation. There are pending 4 administrative appeals with the State Board of Equalization, and we've been in discussions with the county in efforts to try to settle that dispute. The first settlement was approved back in December 2018, and that settlement involved a annexation of the intake site on the river into the city of Woodland that would have rendered brought the intake site within the city of Woodland and therefore within the agency boundaries and therefore not taxable. For lots of reasons, since December 2018, we've been unable to implement that settlement as planned, so that caused the agency staff and directors and supervisors to revisit this issue, and we're now here with this modified settlement agreement, this Roman numeral 2 settlement agreement, because if the board approves it, it would supersede the settlement agreement that we approved back in 2018. The principal change is that this settlement agreement would involve not intake site annexation, but rather it would involve the County of Yolo becoming a party and a member to the Joint Powers Agency, which would have the legal effect of turning the agency into a county-wide entity, which also has the legal effect of bringing the point of diversion and the water rights within the agency, therefore non-taxable. So that's the approach that's being recommended to you. What's included in your packet is the settlement agreement that lays out that settlement and the process and the steps by which we would implement that. And then secondly, it includes as an exhibit to the settlement agreement a proposed joint powers agreement amendment that if the settlement agreement is approved, the JPA amendment would later be considered by the city councils and the county. The agency itself, as you know, we're created by the joint powers agreement, but we're not a party to it, so we're not being asked to approve the amendment to the JPA. The JPA amendments are fairly brief, but several minor changes need to be made to accommodate this change. But like I said, it would add the county as a JPA party. It would change the county's status from a participating agency that it's been since the creation to a non-voting director. A fairly minor change, but it sort of makes them a director instead of a participating agency. It provides that the county appointee must be a supervisor, similar to the cities must appoint council members. There's no change to the board voting. The quorum it would continue to have to be a majority of the cities, a majority of the 4 city members. So there's no change to board voting. It would provide that only city representatives may serve as the chair and vice chair. It confirms that only the cities are responsible for funding the JPA. It also clarifies that the cities, on their own action, could dissolve the JPA with or without the county's consent. And then the corollary of that is the county may withdraw from the JPA at any time on 1-year notice to the cities. It also provides that the cities, on their own, without county support, could amend the provisions of the joint powers agreement that relate to the project facilities, capacity, cost, payment, cost shares, those nuts and bolts of the project that are unique to the cities. The cities could amend those. And those are the principal changes. If the county and the cities then approve the JPA amendment, the county and agency attorneys then would file a stipulated order with the Board of Equalization in an effort to get the Board of Equalization to approve the settlement, which would provide for the taxes, water rights to become non-taxable, and also then provide for a refund of the past 4 years of taxes that have been paid. Any questions?
We're not then adopting this, we're just approving it for submission to the cities and the county.
Well, what you are approving is the settlement agreement, which you are a party to, but you are not approving the joint powers agreement amendment,
And we can't.
and you can't.
This body, yeah, correct. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Questions from my colleagues? And
Yeah, I don't have any.
why don't you make a motion?
So I would like to move this item.
Rich? I'll second it. All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the approved settlement, the recommended settlement in the tax issue that's been before this board now for 4 years. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Boy,
If I could just make a comment.
I think it's appropriate. This is a happy day.
So through a lot of twists and turns, we've kind of ended up in a nice situation. And yeah, thank you to everyone for helping make this happen, staff, colleagues, and yeah, and former colleagues on the board. I mean, this is a good place that we ended up.
Everybody helped, and it's been a long slog ending fairly sweetly, I would respectfully say. And I would like to extend appreciation to our colleagues at the Board of Supervisors for their graciousness in accommodating this resolution, which certainly benefits all of us and the taxpayers that we all serve.
Tom, quick, just housekeeping item, just FYI that been in touch with Mike Webb and with Pat Blacklock, so contingent on this action, we're going to coordinate as best we can to have these items appear on the Davis, Woodland, and Board of Supervisors agendas as concurrently as possible. So that next piece will be on with the cities, but we're working on coordinating that. And is there any time frame? Can we do that at any time now with the pending action of this board?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Or is the settlement agreement contingent upon this new JPA structure or something like that?
Yes, it is.
Right, so
Yeah.
we'd have to do that sooner than,
And the settlement also, to be clear, the settlement doesn't take effect until it's approved by the county. So the
Right.
county has to approve 2 contracts. They've got to approve the settlement agreement and the
Okay,
JPA
I
amendment.
get it. Don't pop the cork yet, guys.
yeah.
No, it'll work. Rather than have one agency lead and the others lag, we're going to just try to do it all
Good idea.
lockstep.
Good.
Any additional remarks, or are we concluded on this one?
No, I just want to say thanks to everyone for the work, and I'm very pleased with this outcome after 2+ years of a number of concerns that I had personally about it. I'm pleased that this is where we landed.
Please.
And UC Davis wishes to chime in too and say that we're really happy and very relieved to put this behind us. Maybe we can move on to other topics on the board. And we also, you know, we're really, really thankful to the county for stepping up in this non-voting role. We do want to continue to potentially advance our conversation, but not at this time. We just really want to celebrate with you right now that we have finished this.
This
Well,
is really
we're almost
dominated.
finished. We shouldn't count any eggs, but we're close. So thank you.
Closer than we've been.
Yes.
All right.
We've been. Here, here.
Thank you, everyone. Item 3 is to consider the appointment of Kim McKinney, City of Woodland Finance Officer, as the Woodland Davis Clean Water Agency Treasurer Auditor. Who's going to present this one?
So the item before you today is the Woodland City Manager, Paul Navasio, has been the agency's treasurer, I think, since the beginning. I think he's actually been our only treasurer that we've had. Is retiring from the City of Woodland, effective early in March, I believe. So at this time, we need to replace him with a new treasurer. There were 2 agreements between the agency and the City of Woodland and the agency and City of Davis that were signed back in 2017 that allow for really any City of Woodland staff member to become the treasurer without any modifications to the agreement. The other part of that, it keeps the agency really in check with certain services provided by Davis, certain services provided by Woodland. City of Davis provides all the financial, they pay all of our bills, invoices, they do our audit. And then so the treasurer services being with Woodland makes sense as kind of a check against the other side of things. Kim McKinney has been Woodland's finance director for longer than I've been here. I don't know how long, but she's been involved with agency business for at least the past 6 years, probably longer than that. So I think we recommend the appointment of Kim McKinney to be our new treasurer.
Thank you. Members of the board, comment?
I'm ready to move.
It says consider the appointment. Is this something we would recommend by motion or by sense of the board that this is an appropriate decision?
A motion to appoint Ms. McKinney would be in order.
So moved.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
You will?
I would be pleased to move the appointment of Kim McKinney, the City of Woodland.
You're too late. You
Oh,
get to
no,
second it.
I'll second it. I will.
Okay.
I will.
Will's going to graciously second that.
Yeah, super graciously.
All right, we have a motion and a second to
Have the record reflect the graciousness.
But we're all about up here. We're just clean water and graciousness.
That's the theme of this meeting.
Move the new motto.
We've got the motion second to approve the action and to appoint Kim McKinney as our agency treasurer auditor. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Long-range board calendar, something coming up?
Yes, our next regularly scheduled board meeting is April 16th. It'll be held in Davis. So really, the next 2 meetings we'll have in Davis to offset this one and the previous one being here in Woodland. So to keep things equal between the 2 cities. Kind of the major things we want to include on the next board meeting is a preview of the budget for the next year. We'll have that. We also plan on having a update on the water analysis that we've been working on. We're through basically the demands of the agency's partners and the analysis of when Term 91 may be taking place and what our risks truly are. In some sense, our risk is a little bit lower because our demands are lower than what we're projecting under the 10-year-old analysis that we had. But the Term 91 risks are a bit higher, so there's a bit of a balancing. We have some preliminary discussions on what we may be looking at to try to do as far as plugging some of those risks. Some things to consider that we're going to start looking at, but be a good time for an update of where we are in that analysis.
Our meetings are normally at 3 p.m. Is that going to happen again on
Yes.
April 16? Okay, just wanted to verify that. Any other updates on our operation?
Everything in operations is going fine. I think they're on the last pump at the intake. I saw the crane there yesterday.
So you got to the right spot with the crane?
Yes.
Yeah, should be the last pump. I'm waiting on an email from Brian, the Jacobs manager. He had to cover a shift this evening, so he was going to send us an update via email later this evening. But the fourth pump should be going in, so we should have the pump should be oil cooled now, so that issue with the water and the irrigation water we had should be done. And then also the rechroming and the bearings that were going to be replaced should be done as well. So we should be good to go for this summer.
Inquiring minds just want to know, like, did you have to do anything special to get it to the end of the rail?
Oh, that one we've not cleaned that screen. That one's still.
That was my confusion.
That was, I think,
That
Will
was
and
what
I
I
were
was
like
thinking
channeling
too.
Yeah, West
Oh.
Coast is looking at how do we fix that problem. Yeah.
We're looking into that one. It's
They get on
yeah.
this side of the crane.
Yeah, it's
you
still
like that?
yeah.
Yes.
That screen's going to remain full of clams and other debris for a little bit. Yeah.
One thing I would like to read, we just got the state's annual audit of our water treatment plant, And it was kind of an interesting thing I just picked up at the end of it under the overall system appraisal section. I'll just read the first sentence. The WDCWA is a state-of-the-art surface water treatment plant facility that is professionally staffed, operated, managed, and maintained. So it's a pretty good statement from the state of the review of our plant this year.
And who did that come from?
Division of Drinking Water.
Nice, thank you.
It's about 100, it's a 40-page report, and they basically said we're doing a very good job.
Great.
That's very good to hear. Anything more from any member of the board? Well, this is Paul's last meeting. It's his victory lap, I call it.
Let's do another one.
He's a modest man, never touts himself, but we know that he's been behind many great things happening in both of our communities over an extended period of years. And so on behalf of this board, as all of those you've served, we say many, many thanks and all the best in the future for you, Paul. Okay? Well, keep drinking it. All right. With that, yes.
The City of Woodland is going to be having a special event in honor of Paul on March 12th. I think it's at 6 p.m. at the Community Center. Welcome all of you there.
That's real nice. Thank you. And I want to thank our Davis colleagues for coming up for this brief meeting, but very important meeting. Thank you all. All right. Yeah. Well, we're talking about $688,000, so it's a big deal. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.